Ryobi has recently came out with USB powered tool lines with these smaller type batteries you see right here. And this cutter is one of the tools that's in that line. Now, this is my first cutter, and honestly, I saw this cutter and I thought, well, I cut a lot of cardboard boxes. I don't really open a lot of these packages because I don't get much stuff in these packages, but I also want to say that, when my wife, she makes projects, sometimes she uses scissors or something, or razor blade like this to cut cardboard. I think it's a lot safer. It's a lot more efficient. And for example, if you want to cut some cardboard that's thick, this thing would be much better to have. And I do like the fact that you can change out batteries because, again, I don't really like to buy stuff with just internal batteries anymore. I like to buy stuff that has batteries I can change out. For example, within a system that I'm pretty confident I'm going to buy more stuff. Like, for example, with this Ryobi USB powered lithium batteries, I'm 100% going to buy more of the stuff in this lineup. And so therefore, that means that I'm almost always going to have a charged battery on hand. So say if I forget to charge my battery that's in this unit and I come out here to cut some cardboard, well, if it's dead, I can just grab another battery because I'm almost for certainly going to have another one charged. So that's why I went with this unit versus going with one that has an internal battery to it. And plus, I like Ryobi. I'm sure there's other brands that probably got like Milwaukee and such, but I like the Ryobi brand because for DIY, I think the price usually is a whole lot better for what you're getting, and meaning that both tools are going to work great if you compare this to Milwaukee. Milwaukee, some people may argue Milwaukee is better. Again, I'm not the one to say if it is or not, but what I can say is for me, Ryobi works fantastic, and the price is also fantastic. Although I do have some Milwaukee stuff, again, I'm more inclined to buy Ryobi stuff than Milwaukee for that reason. All right, so the irony here is that this exact package that this thing is in is what you would want to use this cutter for. And also, I'm going to test it on opening this battery on this clamshell pack, and I'm also going to test it on some cardboard. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Here's a razor blade here. So normally speaking, I would just come and cut this, just cut it some kind of way just to peel it open, and something not too difficult to do. And there you have it. Pretty much, I think that should be good right there. And that's pretty much it. But some people may or may not have a razor blade on hand, and or maybe handy. I'm not sure about that, but anyway, you'll get a lot more. You'll be a lot more efficient. I wouldn't necessarily say efficient because the razor cuts this open kind of fast, but the cutter, I think, is a lot safer. Particularly, you get a better grip on the cardboard. Because, for example, when I bought, say, my Ego lawnmower, right, it came in this big box that really needed to be cut up really good to put it in a recycling bin. So it took me a little while and a little effort. But with this thing here, I'm assuming it would have been a whole lot easier. So I'm assuming there's enough charge here in this battery to go ahead. Let's see, is there any indicator? I know it's a light on it if you plug it in, but is there a button to push to check the battery on it? Let me check the battery level. It doesn't appear to be. So I'm gonna just go ahead and stick it in. You probably can only stick this in one way. All right, so there it is. I'm assuming this has enough charge. Now, one thing I noticed right off the bat, this hit right here does not have any waterproofing around it. So you might wanna, you're probably not gonna be using this in a wet environment, but if you are planning on buying something like this using a wet environment, you may want to consider another type of unit. So let's go here. I'm just going to hit it and just see how it feels. Well, before I do that, I'll say this. It feels grippy, like this material right here, the way it's hitting in your palm of your hand. So it feels pretty good. It's a natural little motion. And supposedly, I think this thing here is, as you can see this here, is self-sharpening on this thing here. So the blade hits this as it rotates. I'm gonna back my finger up. I'm gonna let it rotate, so maybe you can, if it's close enough, you can see it. See that there? So I guess for an average person, a blade probably would last quite some time. So all right, so now we're gonna go ahead and put this thing to the test. Here's a clamshell pack. Let's see if we can make short work of it. So, one other thing before I start, I do like that in this part here, you have about maybe a 1/4 inch gap. And so anything thicker, probably, unless it's some type of fabric or something like that, I don't know if you can squeeze it in there. And oh, and one other quick thing is this thing does have like a you know, you can't just start it with this here. You have to pull this or hit this, and then it goes. Or you could hit this first, I think, and then if you pull the bottom part second, that also cuts on. So whichever order you do it in, first or second, or first or second, or first or second, it'll work. All right, this package here is kind of small, but let's just see how this goes. Oh man, that thing cut through that thing just like butter. Oh my God, I've never used one of these things and I love it already. Wow. Now the battery indicator from what I saw is right here, so you can't see it covered up, so you kind of gotta hold it like this. So my battery is low, as you can see. So in other words, I would have, this thing would be much stronger if the battery was, you know, more charged. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this battery out of the pack. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this out of the way. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put this other battery in here to see if this one have more charge to it, just to see. I'm sure if it does, I'm sure it should feel a bit different. Let's see. Here we go like this. Oh yeah, yeah. This one's green, and you definitely can hear that. So I'm just gonna cut just one slice of this, just see does it feel any different with the more newer battery in it, battery with more power. I mean, that feels about the same. I guess because that's so thin, right, that's kind of hard to cut it. So it feels like if something is too thin, it's kind of hard to push it through. So this is probably meant for stuff that has at least a certain thickness to it, because again, this stuff here was a little bit too thin. So now the test I want to see, because what I more than like, because again, I don't get a lot of stuff that comes in this type of packaging here, but I get stuff that comes in thick cardboard like this Home Depot box that I ordered this from. So this cardboard here, I'm gonna show you, is folded. If you can see this here, is folded. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it. I'm trying to do the best I can without knocking the camera over here, but I think this should be good enough here. But I just lay it down. Let me move this stuff out of the way. That the cardboard is doubled over. So we're just gonna see how this goes. Here we go. Hold on, let me make sure I got my technique right. I feel like it's cutting into it, but I feel like I'm just not pushing it through or something. Wait a minute, I feel like I'm not doing something right, because that should just slide through there. Unless it's too thick. Let me cut through one side here and see what this feels like here. Okay, one thickness, just typical cardboard, it goes right through. That's a one corrugated typical thickness. Maybe a little bit thicker than this, but if you have, I guess because it's doubled, that might be the problem here. I folded it so, but I don't have any thick cardboard on hand to test this out on. But I feel like that it should be able to go through this, but again, that's probably something that you know, is hard to. Let me see here. I'm gonna try something else here. Give me a second here. Give me 1 second here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rip a side off. All right, kind of. Again, here's what happened. If you do, this is just single thickness. And it just cuts right through that. Now we fold this over. Can I hold it still? See, for some reason it's hitting that, it's like hitting this stop right here. Well, I guess but I feel like it should have a little bit more, again, and that could be possibly due to it being folded over. I'm not entirely for sure. But hold on, let's try it like this. Instead of folded, we're gonna put two pieces stacked on top of each other like this and do it. Because folded could have something to do with it. We don't know. Let's try it this way. Let me line those up pretty good as I can. Then try it this way. So it seems like it has some limitation to the thickness of the cardboard it can cut, you know, with a good swipe. Yeah, there it is. So it looked like, I wonder, can you adjust this little thing here? See, this thing here is what's stopping it. That little, whatever, let me pull this out here so you can see that better. However thick this is, that's the thickness that you actually can push through here. And it looks like even so, it's kind of dependent on the top part of this. Let me pull my, in fact, let me pull my flashlight out so to make this a little bit more clear. The part that there's the self-sharpening mechanism here, right here, is it's really dependent on it. I don't know if I can really get that in the view here because it seems like it's going in and out of focus here on me. If I can get this, let me see if I can cover this up. I just can't. It just won't come into focus correctly. But anyway, you can see this part here. And on top of this piece here. And so it's dependent on the height of this part here. So you could get cardboard through there that's thicker than this, but not as double thick. So really, double thick cardboard doesn't seem like it'll work unless there's some kind of way to adjust this. Unless you can adjust this piece here. So, yeah, I mean, for the most part, it still should. I mean, I still like it. I think I'll be able to still cut a lot of cardboard up, but I was definitely not expecting it. I thought that you could be able to cut through, you know, thick cardboard. So it looks like this right here is not necessarily meant to cut through really thick pieces of cardboard, because if you put that through there like that, although you can force it, you can see that how right here, hard to really get that into focus here. So as you can see, that piece, this metal piece right here is what, let me move the light a little bit here. That metal piece right there is what's sticking into the cardboard and kind of causing friction and stopping it from being able to go through. So anyway, I still think it's a good tool. I still think I may keep it. Like I said, now that I saw that, I'm not entirely for sure what I think. And I'm sure probably all of them might have this limitation, but I was expecting it to be, because the big thing that I have when you get sometimes those really thick cardboard boxes and you have to like break those down to really fit them inside a recycling bin properly. I was hoping that this right here could just make that a very, very easy process. And I don't know if that's going to be the case, but with regular cardboard, again, one thickness like this, it just cuts it, and you don't feel like you necessarily, it's not necessarily about the effort per se. It's about the danger. And like sometimes with cutting thick cardboard with a razor, you kind of got to brace the cardboard or hold it in a certain position. But with this, you could just kind of just hold it almost in any way and just go right through it. And then it's pretty safe, to keep your hands or anything that way, or you may not slip and like cut your finger or your leg or something like that, or cut your clothing. So I guess I could still recommend this. It is, I think, with the free, this right here, this setup I had came with a free battery, and I think the battery is like $20 a piece. So this was $69, basically $70 plus tax. No, $50 plus tax. 50 or 60, $60 plus tax. So, like I said, I'll think about this over the next couple of days. Will I keep it or not? But I think I can, at this point in time, I can recommend this cutter, because it might got more applications than I suspect. Because again, I'm not just buying it for cardboard, but my thought in my mind was just to initially buy it to cut cardboard. And it does that well, but I am not sure how well it cuts thick cardboard.